Ladies and gentlemen, Caravan fans, welcome back to the huddle here at Mount Carmel High School for today's live pregame show for the St. Ignatius game, which will be played tomorrow. Just about 24 hours from now, the Caravan will be loading up the buses and getting ready to go over to St. Ignatius College Prep. My name is Rocco Lopez, as always, alongside TJ Kolke, here to bring you guys a great pregame show. We got a couple picks and a couple slides to go over for you guys. TJ.
How are we doing tonight? You know, Rocco, it's a great day. Really excited for tomorrow. Friday football, can't beat that. Friday Night Lights at Ignatius. Always a great game playing them.
Yeah, CCL Blue matchup. 2 CCL Blue matchups. The CCL Blue play starts tomorrow. Right now we got a couple picks to go over. Our first one is going to be played at Coon Memorial Stadium at St. Francis High School. The St. Rita Mustangs, who are 1-2, will play the St. Francis Spartans, who are 2-1. You know, St. Francis is always a strong program, TJ. They have always been good, and they will always be solid. They'll always make a good playoff run. They have never been able to capitalize on that playoff run, though. You know, they haven't got past the quarterfinals in a long time. I think that could change this year for the Spartans. You know, Dario Milihovic, very good receiver, starting receiver for the Spartans. He's a very special kid. On the other side of the ball, though, the St. Rita Mustangs, led by senior quarterback Stephen Armbruster, Walter Jones, Owen Lynch, and Donovan Evans, you know, another receiver. That team's good. I hate to say it. I don't like St. Rita, but that team is very good. You know, CCL, they're in the CCL Green. They got moved out of the CCL Blue last year. I think that they can be a very good team in the CCL Green. And, you know, they're in 7A this in that state playoffs. TJ?
St. Rita gave us a great game week 1. Very, very difficult matchup. You can never take them lightly on both sides of the ball. They will always shock you if you're not paying attention with them. And, you know, again, they're a CCL Blue team for the longest time. CCL Green now, I think they're going to work their way back up pretty soon. But they're gonna run that. They're gonna run the green right now.
For sure. My pick for this game, I got St. Rita winning this one 31-27. You know, it's gonna be a tough environment going to play at St. Francis. I've been out there. That stadium's really cool with the blue turf and their nice scoreboard. I think that this game will be very close, but I think St. Rita's ultimately gonna pull away 31-27.
You know, I'm right there with you. I got Rita 35-28. It's gonna be a really good game for you guys to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. That game's going to be played at 7 o'clock at St. Francis. See some of you guys, or I won't be seeing some of you guys there, but, you know, maybe some of you guys will be in attendance for that game. We'll be at St. Ignatius. The next game we got, Downers Grove North at Glenbard West. 2 undefeated teams square up in a suburban matchup tomorrow. Or that's not tomorrow, I apologize. That game's going to be played on Saturday at 1 p.m. Glenbard West does not have stadium lights, and their stadium is all grass as well. I think that will be a really cool game to go to. You know, those 2 undefeated teams, very good. Downers Grove North ranked number 6. Glenbard West is ranked number 8. That's going to be a great game. Downers Grove North beat Batavia. Or not Batavia, I apologize. Downers Grove North beat Morgan Park 11-8. That was a good game. They beat Downers Grove South. They shut them out. But they lost their starting quarterback in the Hinsdale South game, and he is not going to be playing tomorrow. That's going to change the tide for this game, but not in my opinion. I got Downers Grove North winning 13-7. You know, I think that they can pull it off. I don't think that it'll be as dominant as if they had Owen Lanto, who's their starting quarterback. You know, great player, great kid. I still think they pull this one off, though.
Yeah, any defense that's holding Morgan Park to 8 points is obviously a really strong defense. So I think that's going to be able to allow Downers Grove North to have a little bit of leeway on the offensive side of the ball. You know, they're obviously not going to be able to put up the same offensive pressure as they have been able to. But I still think they get that way 24-14.
Yeah, you know, that's a great game on the west side of the suburbs. The game number 3, Nazareth versus ICCP. That game, Nazareth. Naz only has 1 loss, which came to Mount Carmel. But the ICCP Knights are loaded this year. They are 3-0, and they don't show any signs of holding back. I think that changes this game. Nazareth ranked number 5 in the state. I do see a world where ICCP can pull this upset off, but I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. You know, Naz is just too good. They were too strong. You know, they competed with Mount Carmel for a lot of that game. I have Nazareth winning this game 31-14.
Yeah, ICCP playoff contention like St. Francis. They're right up there. You know, they're usually a dark horse. They're usually ranked really high most of the season. But again, Naz is a really strong team this year. They lost to Mount Carmel, but that's like saying a lot, right? Losing to Mount Carmel, they're the best team in the state. I still think Naz is going to pull it off. I think they got it 25-21.
The 4th game we have, that's not ours. This is the last game we're going to preview. That's not ours. Kicks off the CCL Blue play. We've all been talking about this game all week. all month. TJ's been talking about this game all day. Loyola at Brother Rice. The Crusaders or the Ramblers are going to make the trip down to 99th and Pulaski from Wilmette. It's going to be quite a journey for Loyola. They're going to be pretty banged up. Their stars players playing, but, that's a long journey. That Kennedy traffic is no joke, TJ. I think it's going to take them about 2 hours to get down to Brother Rice. That's going to be rough.
It's going to be longer.
That's going to be rough, yeah. That's going to be rough. Loyola does come out on top of this game, though. I have Loyola winning this game 21-20.
Well, knowing Loyola, they probably got the nice coach buses going down there. But, that's two really good teams, two top 5 teams in the state, in my opinion. Obviously, the big week from the sophomore Jordan McKinley last week for Loyola.
Yeah.
Big game from him, 4 all-purpose touchdowns. But I think Rice has it. I think Rice is pulling off the upset this week. They're a really strong team. I like them a lot this year. I got them. Game can for sure go either way, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Crusaders have been rolling this year, beating Marist. They beat Marist. They beat St. Rita. They beat one other team that I can't. Oh, they beat Valparaiso in week 1. But, 2 CCL Blue opponents, 2 Southside opponents. They shut out St. Rita. Or they shut out Marist last week. I apologize. That was a great game. I do think that Loyola pulls off this win, though. And the last and final game, the game that we're all here for, the game that you all are watching for, and the game that me and TJ will be at tomorrow. Mount Carmel at St. Ignatius, the second game of the CCL Blue slate. Last year, the CCL Blue, very competitive. Ignatius did finish 4th, going 0-3. The Caravan went 1-2. The Crusaders were 2-1. And Loyola pulled off the win at the top of the division last year. I think that changed this year. Loyola lost a lot of guys. Their team, whole new team. As TJ mentioned, Jordan McKinley, very good player. Loyola's quarterback, very good. Their O-line is always going to be good. But we're not talking about Loyola right now. We're talking about Mount Carmel versus St. Ignatius. I think that Mount Carmel wins this game by a large margin. I have Mount Carmel winning this game 54-10.
You can never take Ignatius lightly.
No.
They always come out and shock Mount Carmel. What was it, our 8th grade year?
Our 8th grade year was the only time we've ever lost to St. Ignatius in football, and that game was at St. Ignatius. They won 27-0.
We do not like to talk about that, but, Ignatius puts up a fight. Last year, they were beating us for a little bit, and I was getting a little scared on the sideline there. I was worried that we might lose, but we pulled it off. Again, I think this year we're going to come in. We're going to know what we're expecting from this Iggy squad. We're going to be able to pull off a large win. What my inside sources are telling me, they're not going to throw the ball too much, and they're going to stick with their own game.
They run that triple option offense where they almost run every play. We were watching film on them earlier. They threw 10 passes in their week 1 game.
Yeah, you do not really want to be running into our D-line.
No, not at all.
So, yeah, I think Carmel got this game in the bag, 42-13.
Thank you for joining us on that segment. We are going to go to commercial and be right back.
Amy grounded in faith for 123 years and counting, forming men for leadership. We are MC.
Thank you for continuing to join us after that commercial break. Me and TJ still here. We're going to pull up our pregame show right now. Tomorrow's game will be played at 1076 West Roosevelt. Hope to see everyone there. 7:30 p.m. kickoff, Week 4. The Mount Carmel Caravan, who are 3-0 undefeated, in the St. Ignatius Wolfpack, who are 1-2. They traveled to St. Louis University, lost a game out there. Week 1, Mount Carmel traveled to Archbishop. St. Ignatius also lost to ICCP last week. Mount Carmel beat Nazareth last week. This game we played September 19th, tomorrow night, just about 24 hours from now.
Yeah, I mean, St. Ignatius is not in the spot they want to be right now.
No, not at all.
1-2 start, not great, but this is a big chance for them to kind of make a statement in the CCL Blue, prove their worth in there, and give everyone a run for their money.
They finished last season 3-6, but did go on to win the Prep Bowl against Whitney Young, shutting them out 42-0.
Wow.
We're going to go on to the toots for the Caravan. And TJ, Emmett Dowling is playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of doubts early in the season. Is Emmett the quarterback we have been looking for? He is the quarterback we need right now, and he's carrying us to a great season so far. I'm really impressed with how he's been performing. Not only has he been great throwing the ball, but on the ground, too, he's been making a statement so far.
Yeah, he leads the team in rushing yards with 121 rushing yards. Mount Carmel, though, rushed for 322 yards on 79 attempts this season for carry. Emmett Dowling has 92 passing attempts, 52 completions for 808 yards. And Quentin Burrell leads the team in receiving yards with 302.
Yeah, I mean, Q's just, again, having another great season, but that's something we expected. Breaking records
100%.
already, but that's something we expected. Breaking records
100%.
already. Breaking Coach Lente's record, that's big news right there.
Let's check out the defensive side of the ball. The Caravan stacked last year. They only lost 6 guys last year. That's basically the same, or they only lost 3 guys last year, I apologize. That's the same defense out there, just more developed and more experienced. The team with 23 tackles. Gavin Conjar and Caleb Tucker each have 2 sacks. Caleb got his 2 last game, and Gavin got 1 last game, and then he also had 1 against Archbishop Moeller. Gavin Conjar also leads the team in TFLs with 4.
And Pat Brakey and Tavares Harrington each have 1 interception. You know, Pat Brakey, I'm a big fan of his. He's been playing really well so far. And again, Gavin Conjar, big year out of him so far. He's going to be a key part to this defense with our D-line kind of held up, you know, all the focus on him. That's a great spot for him to just kind of come in and get some sneaky tackles.
Here comes the Caravan. The key players who are going to help us win this game week 4 are the wide receivers. Let's take a look at their 2025 season stats. Senior wide receiver Jamari Brown has 13 receptions for 200 yards after the catch. That is a first down every time he touches the ball on average. He's got 2 touchdowns, and he's averaging 66.7 yards per game.
And then junior Quentin Burrell, again, another great season out of him. 20 receptions, 302 yards, 5 touchdowns already. 3 games. That's over a touchdown a game, folks. Again, 15 yards per catch, 100 yards per game. That's unheard of. That's really great pace. That's like even better than Megatron right there.
Yeah. Let's take a look at our quarterback, Emmett Dowling, the Dowling file, built on Dante. Emmett Dowling, the senior starting quarterback. He leads the team, as I said, with 121 rushing yards on 22 attempts for an average of 5.5 yards per carry with 3 rushing touchdowns. He's thrown for 808 yards with 10 touchdowns. Only 1 interception and has not fumbled at all this season. And he's averaging 269.3 passing yards per game. That's a lot of yards.
Yeah, and that 1 interception, you can't really even blame him for him. That's week 1. Got the jitters out against a really great defense in Archbishop Moeller. So far, like, he's been great. Like, you can't really say